You're welcome to the Media Church Network, and this is Family Code with Jemimah. So far, we have been looking at communication mistakes that parents and guardians make with children. And now, if this is the first video you're watching on this topic, please do check whatever platform that you're using. There should be all the videos that would help you. Right. And once again, I want to mention that the Media Church Network is a community. So you can reach us with your questions, your concern, your counseling needs. Do not hesitate to reach us with any question you have whenever you listen to any of our content, or you have questions, personal needs that fit any of the solutions that we give. So because of variations when it comes to family experiences and setup, you may have a particular need to your situation. Be like, this is not the exact situation. So in this case, what should I do? You can ask us such questions and we'll be quick to reach back to you with the answers that you need. Thank you so much. It will be a pleasure to hear from you. Now, moving on to today's episode on communication mistakes that parents and guardians make with children. We are going to talk about a few important things that may not come up to our consciousness upfront. And the first one we're going to talk about is information overload. Yes, information overload. So what do I mean when I said information overload? Now, the age we are in, right, in the 21st century, we have a lot of information available to us in different fields, different aspects of lives. We have access to variations of perspectives. And so because of how much information we have received, it is so easy for us to pass out so much information to our children on the go. Now, looking at other tendencies when it comes to raising children, like the values that are prioritized in the child's environment, in the child's communication, interactions with people, interactions with family members, it is easier for multiple cultures to happen at the same time because of information overload. And so, in this context of communication problems that parents and guardians and people who live with children they have with children, is that we don't give children age and gender appropriate information. So, I'm going to give a few examples. First, it has to do with sharing your personal life. As a parent, the tendency to turn your children into your best friends is there, right? This is mostly common among mothers because they spend a lot of time with your children. The children are sensitive. You can see a toddler, a year and 6 months old, they are sensitive to how their mothers feel. And they can say, "Hey, mommy, what is wrong with you? Why are you so sad?" And they can share with her, don't be sad, I don't want you unhappy. What can I do to help? And so they pick the emotions, right? That is information you're giving your child. I'm not saying that you should be all perfect, but I'm saying that you should be conscious. Let me give this scenario. If as a mom or as a guardian, you are a mother, right? And then you're having issues with either your male partner, it could be a stepfather, it could be a boyfriend, a fiance, or a husband, and it affects your mood, it affects the way you behave, it affects the things that you do. Your children, they see these things, right? To an extent, you are communicating with them your personal life without even knowing. So it is important to manage the information we give our children regarding our personal life. There are certain things that are not age appropriate because it begins to form their perspective towards certain things. Now, if a child sees a mother being maltreated by the father or by a man, they can begin to perceive men as wicked, regardless of what the scenario, the situation was. And even when the woman is not treated poorly, but she perceives that she's treated poorly, or for whatever reason she misbehaves, the children will end up seeing the man as the trigger. And that is not a good perspective. All right. So it is good to shield children from certain information when it comes to your personal life. Right. It's not every mistake that you make that children should know. It is not every flaw that you have or weakness that children should be aware of. Right. For those of us who are addicted to drinking and smoking, it is not advisable that you drink and smoke, but these are things that you should keep away from your children. Keep it away from your children. That is, you are giving them more than they should know at whatever age. Your children should not even be aware. If it's something that you're dealing with, keep it away from your children. It does not help them. Don't allow them get into those habits. All right, keep it away from your children, I must say. Now, when it comes to information overload, there's a tendency to want to build and raise an upright child. And that's something that I had to deal with myself, because as I learned, everyone would desire to have a child that is learned, a child that is well behaved, a child that speaks fast, as they develop in age, a child that can count their numbers early, can count their letters early, say their letters, learn the sounds, learn the vowels, begin to learn music, learn art and culture and tech and all this stuff. So these are great, right? Because there are a lot of improved methods where children can learn these things at a tender age. Children can learn a lot more languages than adults can. So there's this tendency to want to give them so much, right? So we prepare them for their future. But one thing that we must know is there are indicators to when a child is being fed more than they should be fed when it comes to information. Now, aside age and gender, one of the indicators is receptiveness. When a child becomes fatigued and becomes tired, please refrain. Please, please. Sometimes we break a child's spirit, right? When I mean break a child's spirit, their tendency to want to have results may be there. Their tendency to want to thrive may be there. But when it comes to breaking a child's spirit, it is a holistic state where a child does things for the right reasons. I'm not trying to be better because I want to prove a point. I'm a great person, and so I'm supposed to grow into greatness. That is why I put so much effort. Not because I want to prove a point, not because I want to show people that I'm better, not because I want to even prove to myself because I'm better. I'm a great person intrinsically. And so I am growing into the person that I am. How we present this information and how we are careful to their receptiveness is going to help them know that they are safe. Now, information overload when it comes to academics, when it comes to spirituality, that is why for uh, parents who want to raise faith-based children who love God with all their heart, with all their soul, with all their mind, and with their might, need to intercede for children a lot. Why? Because it stirs up the child's desire. It helps them receive the knowledge of God that you bring them, the experiences they have with God. And so it will help you a long way. All right, it will help you a long way. And a lot of children become people tend to have a lot of results, but they do not love their parents. They hate their parents. They despise, they detest their parents because their parents treated them like projects and guinea pigs, prototypes, robots, experiments. That is inappropriate. That is wrong. And that is violation of the child's life and the child's rights. So when it comes to topics like sex, it is important that you know what a child should be exposed to at a certain age. Children should not be exposed to perversions when it comes to sexual relationship. Fights, you see that happens. It doesn't matter what authority wants to do that. Don't allow that. If you need to change from one geopolitical zone to another one country, to another continent, to another, please do that if you can. If you can plan towards it, as a preparing parent, it is very important. Perversions when it comes to homosexuality, when it comes to lesbianism, different variations of perversions. It is important that children are shielded from these things. One of the reasons why they should be shielded and be taught these things exist in the right context is because it triggers a desire. Children have this natural curiosity, and the first knowledge they have about everything affects their life in ways you cannot imagine. It forms the foundation of their perspective about that thing, and to a great extent, they may never recover from it throughout their lifetime. So it's important that you guard their first perceptions of things. And so giving them information overload, oh, I want my child to be sexually educated, and so you keep teaching them, you just expose the child to so much sex, and then you trigger their desires. All right. And that is not appropriate, especially sexual perversion. To teach them about their body, You teach them about how they should carry themselves to avoid sexual molestations, and you should teach them defensive mechanisms, right? And the reason why you are teaching them defensive mechanisms is not because all the world is all wicked, is because they are human beings and they should learn to take care of themselves. So there are other information overload that we give to children, and we tend to communicate it via responsibility. For example, financial responsibilities. A lot of children tend to feel responsible for their family, which is inappropriate. All right. Children should feel partially responsible for themselves as they mature because you're supposed to teach them how to earn, all right? How to earn, what they should do, how to work to earn money, how to work to earn certain things that they need for themselves, how to make investments and all. But it should not be burdensome. All right. There's a whole guide on how to do this that we will gradually share with you here on the Media Church Network. So you should follow us for more because you're going to receive a lot of insight about this. Now, moving forward in the mistakes, communication mistakes that parents and guidance make, people who deal with children, they make when dealing with children. Another one is tone, right? Tone. There's a popular saying that says, what you say is as important as how you say it. Now, let's look at these few scenarios. First, when a child is seeking my attention and I'm quite busy, wrapping up with work, trying to have a conversation with their parents, their mother, or something important to me. And a child is seeking my attention. You feel what the child is calling your attention for is not something that is important. I'll be like, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Like, just wait. You are disturbing me and all that. I am not saying that you should be a passive parent and would anytime your child needs your attention, you just give in and all that. But I want to show you how these can be used to communicate that they are unloved, unworthy, they are not fit to be listened to, or they are a disturbance to you. So that is something you want to be careful about, your tone when you communicate to them. You communicate appraisal, you communicate correction, you communicate criticism, healthy criticism or unhealthy criticism, however it is, your tone, right? I was speaking with a parent recently and they complained that their children actually shout a lot. And I helped them see how it was from their lifestyle that they learned it. That parent also mentioned that she noticed her children, all her 4 children, are sensitive. They have a temper. They are quick to get offended. And she said she started praying for them about it. And I encouraged her to know that these children need to be aware that that is there and begin to learn new habits. So you want to be careful when it comes to your tone, how you respond to things. These are things that children pick up on how they learn. Not just about how they perceive themselves or perceive you as an angry person, a bitter person, a nagging person. No, it also influences how they respond to other people, how they respond and relate when it comes to their social relationships, their interpersonal romantic relationship, their relationship when it comes to leadership and all that. So your tone when you talk to people above you, your tone when you talk to people within your age bracket, your tone when you talk to people that you seemingly look more privileged than. Children pay attention to these things. Your tone when you speak to them, your tone when you talk about your friends. Yes. Your tone when you talk about your colleagues, your tone when you talk about people that you do not like. So I'm not asking you to be a perfect person. I'll say this again. I'm just saying you should be a conscious, intentional parent. And so there are many ways we can help you develop on this when it comes to becoming more intentional in how you communicate with a child. Yes, but just stay on the Media Church Network on whatever platform that you're watching this, and this will go a long way to help you. And do not forget, please, we look forward to receiving your feedback wherever you're watching this from. And then in achieving better results when it comes to your tone, practice is going to help. Intermittently keep record, be conscious about it. My tone, how did I communicate. Now, children can be so used to you raising your voice and shouting that there's no reaction. So, looking at their reaction sometimes as a means to guide whether your tone was right or appropriate in a certain communication or certain scenario or about a certain topic is not the best fit. So, you have to do this self evaluation yourself about your tone, and you need to make practice and adjustments as you progress. All right. If you have listened to this episode so far, it is a delight, and we look forward to hearing from you. Now, briefly, one of the things I will mention as we close on this episode is passive listening. Passive listening. Children are excited to share their lives with people that they admire, and most times that has to do with their parents, their guardians, the people they see around them, at least the first people they see around them, before they begin to admire certain people when it comes to their area of interest. And so it's something that every parent, every guardian, and every person who deals with children need to protect. You should be someone they admire and you have to protect it. But one thing that spoils how children perceive you, if they admire you, if they want to listen to you, is when you practice passive listening. You don't pay apt attention to them. When they communicate their need, they complain about how they are being treated at school, treated by a person, how they feel possibly they are not treated fairly by you or in a particular situation, and you do nothing about it. When you don't listen to them, when they have a challenge, when they have an interest or a win or something they're interested about. However it is, when you practice passive listening, it affects how a child receives information, correction, training, and culturing from you. So being a parent that is listened to, it's important that you become the parent that listens. Thank you so much for staying with us on this episode. We look forward to seeing you on the next. And if you are watching us in whatever platform, please do not hesitate to reach us with your questions, your concerns, feedback, whatever it is. If this has been of value to you and it's appreciated, you can also write us. And don't forget that we have a whole lot of community of people that are willing to help you in your family and parenting life. So you can reach us, you can write us, you can be part of this network, part of the community. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode. You have a lovely day.